Hypocrisy is a fascinating part of humans. It pops up when people don't understand the full picture. Everybody follows their own specific set of rules. These rules usually decide whether you are against or for a cause. Sometimes we don't follow our own rules and we contradict ourselves. For example, if you were to judge people who use Instagram while having an active account yourself, you would be considered a hypocrite. And many times, hypocrisy is a little more intense than Instagram. This applies to how many people view social and political issues. Many people have an ulterior motive than to what they claim to be fighting for. They manipulate emotion and exploit an important cause to further their own selfish agenda. These people are the most obvious hypocrites. In many cases, hypocrisy is a side effect of ignorant hate. A great example of this is the Westboro Baptist Church in Topeka, Kansas. If you haven't heard of the WBC, this most likely looks like a regular place of worship, but that is far from true. The WBC is more so a movement rather than a place. In many communities, they are considered a hate group. Why? Because they violently target the LGBT community. They show up in protest with offensive anti-LGBT chants and signs at pro-LGBT parades, gatherings, and courthouses where a law is being put in place in favor of the LGBT community. While their hate is very much arguably blind, they attempt to maintain and justify their hate by claiming they're doing it for God. The Christian Bible almost famously denounces homosexuality as a sin. What is so hypocritical about the WBC is their extremism. The Christian Bible explains that everyone is given free will to do whatever they want, and if they sin, they can be forgiven by God. The WBC is not nearly as forgiving, and perhaps the most obvious example of their hypocrisy is the reason they are attacking the LGBT community in the first place. The WBC targets them because they are sinners, as if the WBC is not full of sinners themselves. They claim everyone is to be viewed as brothers and sisters while consistently attacking the LGBT community. Are they not creations of God as well? The WBC frequently denies and ignores this. They seem to value their ignorant views enough to the point where they cannot be convinced of their own contradictions.
In Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, the residents of Macomb County could fit right in with WBC as bastions of ignorance, complete with crippling lack of self-awareness. This is exemplified by the missionary circle scene in chapter 24. The focus of this chapter lies on Aunt Alexandra's Bible circle, led in part by Mrs. Merriweather. From Scout's statements, it can be inferred that the circle thinks Mrs. Merriweather is perfectly good and moral, and someone that is looked up to in the community. Her speeches about the horrors of the Maroon tribe make it clear that she considers herself a saint for helping the poor Marooners. However, her supposed saintliness ends there. In the same breath she praised herself for helping the Marooners, she voices support for the idea that the black community is unable to be helped, and even agrees that the black community cannot be educated against the best wishes of the white community. The complete hypocrisy of this statement, with her past speeches on helping the Marooners, is lost on her, and she reveals herself to be just as racist as the rest of Macomb. Not only is she flamboyantly racist, Miss Merriweather severely lacks the self-awareness to see the irony she calls the Northerners of the United States hypocrites. She chastises the North for setting the slaves free while not sitting at the same table as them, meaning they don't fully integrate into their communities, while she herself won't even associate with the black community. Miss Merriweather even goes as far as to insinuate Atticus is misguided for trying to help the black community of Macomb, and that all he's doing is stirring them up. Her agreement with Miss Farro's racist rhetoric contrasts with everything she supposedly stood for while bragging about her missions in Africa. The missionary circle of To Kill a Mockingbird have the audacity to insinuate the black community of Macomb are beyond help while forcing the Marooners of Africa to accept things they do not want, such as Christianity. Religions can preach things like tolerance and moral pureness, but it takes not an ounce of effort to find examples in things proving the contrary. The Westboro Baptist Church takes a position of moral superiority over those it spews hate against, but are too blind to notice that they are the true heretics, the ones that do not practice such piety as they preach. This juxtaposition shadows the fragile facade of those intolerant churches that would rather use the Bible as a weapon than a source of moral guidance.